And here is the snare drum mic that I'm using. It's the AKG C535EB. That's a condenser. It's quite an expensive mic. I normally use this when I'm recording, but I just thought I'd throw it on here for the video today. Normally I bought a kit of CAD microphones so I wouldn't have to have all these mic stands and cables running around. The CAD comes with rim clips and stuff just like this, so I don't have to use these stands and get them all in the way. And I'll show you the difference between a Shure SM58 and the CAD, the sound that you get here. But the drums sound pretty good to the ear, and that's something you have to get done before you start recording. If your drums sound like crap before you start miking, then you can't expect a very good sound. For the snare, I have it fairly tight on the top and the bottom. It's rung out pretty good, so I'm thinking 3/4 of a turn on each lug. So here are a couple quick tips for camera users, and Joey was asking how to get his sound a little better, and this would apply to anybody using a handheld digital camera. Some of the videos we see out there are very distorted, so try moving your camera away from the drums to the back of the room and then zoom in on your kit. That'll lower the sound level going into the camera, reduce distortion. You can also try putting a piece of foam or a cloth over the mic. Most camera microphones are located directly under the lens, just like you see in this photo here. Just tape a piece of foam or whatever you can find, and that should attenuate the sound and give you a little less distortion as well. And the only other thing I can suggest is buy an external microphone. $30 to $40 you can spend on a dynamic microphone, which will work with most cameras, and you should see that your camera has a microphone jack on the side of it, or maybe at the back. Just check around for an external microphone jack, and if you're serious about getting a better sound with your camera, that's one way to do it as well. Dimitri is asking what I use for overheads and my mic positions. As you can see here, I'm using stereo overheads. You want to make sure these mics are a matched pair. Put them approximately 5 feet apart horizontally. You get a good stereo separation that way. If they're too close, you don't really get a left and right image. If you're using an XY overhead technique, then you want to angle the microphones at about 90 degrees and make sure the capsules are almost touching. One mic is going to fire to the left and the other mic is going to fire to the right. The way these overheads are set up, one microphone is collecting over the hi-hat area, and the other microphone is directly above the ride and crash cymbals. So the snare isn't the direct center, and that's what you want. You want your snare to come out in the center. Another thing you want to ensure is that your microphones are equal height above the snare, so get a tape measure out. Mine are approximately 3 drumsticks apart from the snare skin to the tip of the mic. And get a tape measure if you have to. You want to make sure they're evenly spaced so you get a good stereo image. If one mic is too high or too far to the left or right, you're not going to have a centered sound for your snare. And the last thing I can suggest is that you want your overheads to be condenser microphones. Condensers are good at picking up cymbals and soft sounds. Cymbals don't move a lot of air like drums do, and a dynamic microphone requires air movement to deflect the diaphragm in the microphone. A condenser mic uses a different technology, has a built-in amplifier, so it can pick up really subtle sounds. So this is my final mix. I'm just putting a compressor on the overheads so I can get rid of some of the low-end tone on the cymbals. Just want to make the cymbals sound a little clearer and crisper. So as you can see in this visual, I've dropped the mids and turned up the high-end frequencies. on the compressor. You can even try a different type of compressor if you have different ones at your disposal, because they'll give you different sounds. They have different algorithms to decode. And this one right here is a waves compressor. And as you can see, I've filtered out the bottom end. I don't want any of the sub frequencies from the bass drum coming through. Everything else is pretty much flat, and then the high frequency is turned up.